Testing, testing. Hello, good evening. How are we doing, Confetti? Lovely stuff. Welcome to today's session with Jason Williamson, who will be sharing his out-of-the-ordinary journey to riding the wave of critical and commercial success whilst never selling out. Before we get started, I'd just like to make you aware that the applications for our London campus are now open, offering undergraduate, postgraduate degrees in music, events, esports, lots of creative pathways for you. Head to the Confetti website if you'd like to find out more. We'd love to share your experiences with us, so please tag Confetti in any of your pictures that you upload. Use the hashtag IW23 for the chance to win some cash prizes. Very exciting stuff. And you can still book on to any upcoming Industry Week events. Just head to the Industry Week website, get yourself booked on. Lots left for tomorrow as well. In the event of emergency, please make sure you make your way to the nearest fire exits and make your way to the corner of Brook Street. And with that out of the way, please join me in welcoming Jason Williamson.
Good afternoon. I'm Dean Jackson. This is Jason, as you know. Thank you. We're thrilled to have Jason here. I've known Jason for quite a while, and the introduction is quite right. He's got a lot of success in his music, but without ever selling out. He's done it all on his terms. Well, that's what I say. We'll find out from Jason in just a moment. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
How did you start out in music, Jason? What was your first experience back in the day?
I started out at college doing singing for some band. A couple of lads I've met in the college canteen who play instruments, so I went down to their house one Friday night and started rehearsing with them and stuff like that. That's how it started.
And then, of course, Andrew is the other half of Sleaford Mods.
Uh-huh.
How did that meeting take place?
I met Andrew in the Chameleon cafe, which is in town. I can't remember, 2011. I was supporting some noise artist on my own, doing Sleaford Mods. I did that for like 4 years on my own before I met Andrew. And he was DJing downstairs, and at the time I needed organic music. I needed original music because I was just using looped samples from other records, and that's got no life really. It's been done to death, and also copyright, etc. So I was having a cigarette outside, and I could hear this terrible music from upstairs, and I thought, oh God, I like that. So I went and asked him if he wanted to get together. He kind of looked at me a bit gone out, and then sort of gave me his phone number, and that was it.
So what was Andrew doing at this point? Was he an instrumental artist, was he? Or was he playing for somebody else?
He was doing various things, but mostly just not releasing stuff, but putting stuff on his SoundCloud on his own under his solo project, which is Extended Network.
And so you got together. Do you remember the first track you made together?
Track called All That Glue, and it was kind of like over a kind of garage type beat. It was good. We gave it away as like a free floppy disk thing with the best of album a few years ago. It's all right. At the time I didn't rate it, but looking back on it now, it's all right. Yeah.
At what point do you think you realised that because you described the noise that Andrew was making, and then you jumping on the track with him? At what point did you realise that this was actually working out? Because it was no one else has ever done it like you've done it, have they? What you do is your own sound. It's distinctive and unique.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wanted to rap. I was banging to hip hop, but like years and years of watching mates or rappers just doing it in like American. Just picking up like it just didn't feel right, and then kind of like when people were trying to do it in their own accents, it was very much traditional hip hop, the kind of early rhyming thing, which again I didn't feel was right. I mean, the Wu-Tang came along and just revolutionised it, I think, didn't they? And it still sounds so completely fresh, that kind of style of rapping. And so I wanted to try and emulate that. And just kept listening. I just became obsessed with the idea of emulating that and just doing it in my own accent. That using my accent, trying to use it with a bit of panache. Do you know what I mean? Trying to style it out a little bit. So that is how it started, really. I was listening to a bit of punk as well, and those two things combined just gave what I'm doing today. Do you know what I mean?
There will be a chance for you to put some questions to Jason a little bit later on. So if anything springs into your mind as we're just chatting here, it's about you, not me. Just keep thinking about that. Hold that thought there, and we'll come back to your questions a little bit later on. I mean, one of the things that I hadn't realised about you until I'd known you, well, about 3 albums in, I guess, really, was that your love of rap music. And I know that you've featured a number of, or worked with a number of Nottingham grime trap, call them what you will, artists, haven't you?
Yeah. Snowy I've worked with a bit. Who else? I think that's about it, to be honest. Done a few bits and bobs.
And some more. Yeah. Do you sometimes have to pinch yourself because other people have, to achieve the success that you've got now and the recognition that you've got, have really had to play a game and go with the industry and do all the right things.
Yeah.
And it feels like you've really been true to yourself in everything that you've done, and yet you've still got there, or it feels like you've got there anyway to me, that you've got this success, this adoration, but you've done it all on your own terms.
Yeah, to a certain degree, yeah. I think, like getting signed to a major label at a young age is fine, but it generally ends in absolute carnage. And what I mean by that is you don't get what you want. They're looking at numbers, they're looking at performance right from the word go, and if you're not living up to that, generally you kind of get discarded. Very few are allowed to develop their abilities. You know what I mean? Fortunately for me, I never did anything that caught their attention. If I had have done, I would have probably signed and gone down that road. But it's not. I wouldn't see that as you don't want to be looking at that as your main motivation, unless of course you just want to be famous or you want to be in that mould. Do you know what I mean? If you really are obsessed with that kind of thing, then fine, it might be for you, but it definitely wasn't for me, no.
You've got recognition. I mean, we'll talk about some of the people that some of your fans. Well, Robert Smith, The Cure, tweeted about you, didn't he?
Yeah.
Peripheral,
Yeah.
Jane's Addiction,
Yeah.
a fan. All these people, and there are more and more and more. I see people retweeting you talking about what an influential artist you are. When I'm interviewing as part of my radio program, artists in America seem to be very, very aware of you. Mm-hmm. So how's all that happened? Do you think that you've got this? I don't know, these high-profile fans.
Just because the music's decent. I was always inspired by like music that was grassroots, not grassroots, but like just street music. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's punk, whether it's rap, whether it's house music, whether it's whatever, electro, whatever, electronica. It doesn't matter, just as long as it is rough and it says something about the world, and is well written. It took me 20 plus years. You know what I mean? To get to a point where I was like, right, okay, I can produce a little bit, I can write. I've got this formula. It took me that long to get my eureka moment. That's what I aim for right from the off. I was inspired by artists like that, and that's what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I think today there's a lot more on the table. Do you know what I mean? There's so much. The internet has opened it up, and people are exposed to so much. I don't know. It's probably harder to get your own angle. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. When you started doing all of this, of course, it wasn't instant success. You got a day job, hadn't you, for quite a long time actually, while you were putting music
day
out.
jobs.
What sort of things were you doing?
Anything to pay the rent, and made sure that as long as I paid the rent, and I could go out in the evening and do that. Do you know what I mean? Learn how to write, be in bands, blah blah blah. I kept myself, not insular, but I just kept myself to myself. You know, I didn't, you know, I kind of veered away from heavy relationships or anything like that. Didn't have children to a later age. Just kept myself virtually free of everything so I could just learn, you know. But, you know, that I don't want to give you the impression that it was as simple as that, because it wasn't. It was, you know, I got into lots of other bad things, you know, substance abuse, alcoholism, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? It's boring. Life was boring. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, you know. I had to go to work, and I learnt in the evening, and it proved to be very hard, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, you know, it's the way I went, but it doesn't work for everybody, you know.
But it's great to hear that backstory and the way that things are now. It's, you know, it's an inspirational story. It shows that there's always hope out there, isn't there?
There is a hope, yeah. There's hope in yourself. You can be that. You can be that well of hope. You know, to sound like a cliche, but you can. You know, it's in you to do that. It's it's an age-old story, and it's one that hasn't. It's not one that's weakened. You know what I mean? It will be there forever. You know what I mean?
Let's hear a couple of pieces of music from you, just to show some of your, just how diverse you are as an artist. Can we start with Tied Up in Knots, please? We've got that clip.
And then the dealers tiptoe, tied up in knots. Shit. And then the dealers tiptoe. Pick up the riots.
So, a simple video, very simple video, but making a point very nicely. Where was that filmed? I'm trying to recognise the wreck in the background.
That was filmed in Arnold, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. What do you remember about that era of Sleaford mods, the Tied Up in Knots era?
It was good. It was exciting. You know, we were kind of getting somewhere.
It was starting to take off by then, yeah?
Yeah, big time. It was. We were getting a bit of recognition. You know, we originally thought we'd just get a little bit of recognition around Nottingham, you know, but then it just took off. So it was exciting. It really was.
Do you know, I mean, other than the fact that the music's great, do you remember, what do you think it was? Was there a particular catalyst, a particular moment when you thought, oh, we're now taking off because of this? Or was it just all because of the hard work and the foundation that had been laid in advance, do you think?
I think it was a couple of things, really. You know, our first manager, Steve, he owned or ran a kind of DIY label, noise, punk label. And, you know, he would put records out from time to time. He knew a lot of people, pressing plants, he knew a lot of people in Europe, gig agents, all that business, you know what I mean, venues. So he had a little bit of a rough infrastructure. So when he heard our first album we did together, me and Andrew, he suggested that we chop half of it off because half of it wasn't very good, and we had a new EP coming out, so he was like, just put that new EP to it, and that's what we called Austerity Dogs, which was the first album. And he released that on his label, and it started picking up through the grapevine, do you know what I mean, word of mouth. We did a few gigs around here, we did a couple in London, still no good, and then we went over to Belgium to a festival called the Crack Festival, which is kind of like an expo for DIY bands and blah, blah, blah. And then the emails started coming in, you know what I mean? Can you come over and play in Nantes, in blah, 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 Berlin? It was quite a thing. So we toured Europe, and then the Enemy got in touch on the last date, and things started to then pick up in England, you know what I mean?
It's amazing, the European thing, because, of course, the lyrics and the content of the songs is so centred around here, isn't it? A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yet it travelled. In fact, I think the first time I ever spoke to you, I was on the phone in a car park in Germany, actually, doing an interview.
Yeah.
And even then it was starting to blow up. So why do you think that was? What was it about what you were singing about that appealed to Europeans?
Just you know, the themes are universal. You know, politics. You know, alienation, anger, jealousy, envy, bitterness. All of these things are universal in everybody. So people just, you know, they don't necessarily understand the lingo or some of the slang, but they can understand the sentiment in the energy. And also the music has lots of familiar aspects to it. You know, the heavy bass, the post-punk bass, the beats or whatever, you know what I mean? So all of that combined, I don't know, it is quite a relatable form of music, you know what I mean?
Interesting that it took off in Europe, then the NME picked up on it because of... Was it because of that they picked up on it, do you think? Or
I don't know.
Were we starting to bubble up by then anyway?
Well, we'd done Austerity Dogs and we were getting Divide and Exit sorted. I think we'd released Tied Up in Knots and the video, and that was doing the rounds. And people started picking up on it. It just kind of grew.
Yeah. Right, another video. This is the one with Orbital. I love this. Do you remember how that came about?
Yeah, they did a remix for us, and remix was brilliant. And we said that we'd do a tune with them. And so they sent this idea through. Oh, well, Andrew got the bass line sorted first, and then they built on that. Then they sent it back, and I went in the studio and did the vocal. Didn't take too long, really. I didn't think much of it, but it really did kick off.
It did kick off, and that was quite a long way from their typical sound, wasn't it, as well? So it was a departure for them as well.
A little bit, yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, I wrote it, was quite happy with it, and then bang, you know.
Shall we move on to another collaboration of well, even bigger ilk, actually? This is with The Prodigy, this one.
Oh.
I know.
Mix, I get a smash, sex calls, six-pack flash, drum edge, no tone, the faceless, the mix on sticks, our beefers rotting encrusted rocks, transmit.
I mean, I think it was, for me, it was when I saw that, I realised, because I'd been aware of you doing well in Nottingham for a while, but it wasn't until I thought, oh, hang on, collaborating with The Prodigy now, that to me felt, oh, they're spreading a bit their wings beyond Knots now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so Liam's manager got in touch and asked if I wanted to collaborate. So I text my manager, I was like, oh, what do you reckon? He went, do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Was it fun to do?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, they're massive, you know. So it was like a bit of an eye-opener because they're all like, you know, famous, ultra-famous pop stars, punks or whatever. So it was like the next level, really. So it was good. It was good. It was an experience.
Now, of course, you sing about everyday themes. There's politics in there as well. Does the politics side ever? Well, is it easy to weave into music without causing trouble, or don't you mind causing a bit of trouble with it?
You can't help it, can you? I mean, especially now, everyone's so, you know, segregated with their beliefs to a certain degree. Or you know, you go on the internet and it's, especially Twitter, it's completely been taken over by a kind of right-wing ideology, hasn't it? Every ad you see is kind of right-wing or whatever, you know. Yeah, it's hard work, but you've got to believe in the good thing. You've got to believe in the right thing, haven't you? And so, you know, you've got to keep fighting the good fight, haven't you?
Putting your views out online, though, I mean, as you say, you're going to attract trolls, aren't you, and that kind of thing. So, I mean, is that an issue?
Yeah, it can be. Do you know what I mean? I mean, nobody comes around your ass. They're not going to, are they? So, yeah. It's a tough one with trolls because I troll people. You know, it's like we all do, don't we? It's you can't help it. It's like you just do. But yeah, it can be a bit much.
Yeah. And you've been involved in a number of online spats with different people over the years. Are there any of those that you ever regret afterwards? Think, I wish that hadn't happened. No. I'll be honest, no, because it's only words on the screen. I mean, it's like it's not real life. And you know, if you bump into any of these people, they avoid you or they apologise. And I'd like to say that I'm one of the people that apologise. So, and I do, you know. But it's like,
No, I think yeah, you can. It can be. Yeah, I wouldn't want to think that I'm upsetting anyone, but you are. You know what I mean? Essentially,
It's very refreshing on one level because in this era of cancel culture, so many people are treading on eggshells,
Yeah.
and not wanting to upset anybody at
Yeah,
all, which I
yeah.
think is a really tough thing to do, isn't it? Actually,
it is. I just think we're coming out of the old age and we're going into the new one, and so all these things are coming out. It's a bit like, you know, just cutting yourself, isn't it? The blood comes out and then it starts to heal. And, you know, I think a new psychology, a new psyche, a new way of communicating with each other and new values are all starting to emerge. So you've got this melting pot of absolute contradictions and, you know, disagreements, which I think is going to go on for quite some time, you know.
what's the writing process that you go through? I mean, if we look back at a track like Tied Up in Knots, then come all the way forward to the new album, which is out tomorrow, by the way, called UK Grim, and the tracks on that. Has your writing process changed in those years, or is it still pretty much the same, would you say?
Still pretty much the same. It's just Andrew's at the laptop looking at me, and then I just, you know, do something into the mic and ask him what does he think, and if he says he likes it, we carry on, you know, and that's it.
Where does it come from, though, Jason? Where does the inspiration come from? Where do the words come from?
Just from I don't want to go back to fucking work. I'm sorry to swear. I do not want to go back to work. There's that, and also there's always things that are on your mind, or just the idea that you are under pressure can make you resentful, you know, and all of these energies can fuel ideas, you know, whatever they are.
So you're writing as you go along. You've got Andrew there with on the laptop, and you're there with the words coming out. I mean, this might sound a really dumb question, and I almost don't want to ask it, but how do you remember the words? Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, muscle memory, innit, I think. I think you have to rehearse. Like I've got a new set, so I started rehearsing the new set at the start of January, and now I can do it whilst I'm cooking dinner, and I don't have to look at the words. So it's in there, and I read somewhere where Kay Tempest said that once it occurs to them they know a song is when they can walk around the house and do chores or whatever whilst reciting the words. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll try that. So it's a good marker, you know. So it takes about 3 months, really. But I only do it an hour a day. I can't be doing with all this, oh, God, I've got to rehearse like three hours a day. Just take it easy. Start 3 months before, and you only have to do it for an hour a day. Not even that, you know.
And then when you get on stage, is it just always there? Do you have any kind of, I don't know, prompting device or anything like that?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Do you think it might come to that?
I don't know. Well, you know what? A deterioration, of course, I think, at some point. But, you know, thank God. Well, not thank God, but you know what I mean. I don't believe in any of that business. But you know, thankfully, it's you know, it's good. I think the thing is, I try and keep myself fit. I don't drink anymore, any of that business. Do lots of weights, which are good for brain power. Do you know what I mean? Try and have a good diet, and hopefully these things will contribute to a prolonged skill set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's have another clip show now. This is BHS.
We're going down like BHS while the able-bodied vultures monitor and pick at us. We're going down and it's no stress. I'm laying over the knuckle-dragging exodus. We're going down like BHS while the able-bodied vultures monitor and pick at us. We're going down and it's no stress. We're going down like BHS.
I guess we might need to explain what BHS was.
British Home Stores. Yeah.
And it went, didn't it?
It went, yeah.
Which is the theme of the song there. Well, is it similarly a metaphor? I don't know what it is, but it's connected in there.
What's that?
Going down like BHS.
Well, yeah, it was kind of like, you know, the general political landscape was not being, it just didn't look very good around 2017. Things were going sliding, and then we had the Brexit vote and all that, and I just thought it was all going down the pan, you know.
Let's come a bit more up to date now with this one. This is featuring another brilliant artist. It's Billy No Mates with More Comedian. I think this is Glastonbury as well we're about to see here.
You go too high, too low, it doesn't make a difference. I know too high, too low, but the system won't go. Too high, too low, it doesn't make a difference. I know too high, too low, but the system won't go.
I think you've played Glastonbury more. What?
State of me. You always think you look like Brad Pitt on stage, but alas, no.
I think you've played Glastonbury more than just about any other artist. Whenever I go back through Glastonbury lines, what was your first year? Do you remember?
2015.
And have you been at every single one since?
No.
It feels like it.
The thing is, they only let you play every other year or every 2 years. You never normally do any more than 3, apparently, in your whole career. But
is that right?
We've done 5 so far.
Well, you've done 5, and also some
4,
years.
sorry.
Some years you've done more than one stage, haven't you, as well?
Yeah.
Did you do 3 stages the last time?
No, that was Fontaine's DC. They did about 6 stages in
No,
one
I'm sure
day.
you did. I looked and you because you done. Oh, I don't know. Well, you remember it better than I do. But I just seem to remember you doing a small stage.
We did the Park stage.
Yeah.
We did John Peel stage. We did a small comedy stage.
That's it.
When Eaten Alive came out, which it was a bit of a waste of time, to be honest. And then when we did Spare Ribs, they invited us back.
Do you enjoy it?
No, it's horrible. Glastonbury is.
Why?
Because it's televised, and you just know you got people back home just going, just waiting for you to mess up because it's live. So it's quite, you know, it's basically like a massive expo event, you know, where you go there and present your wares to the world, you know, because the world's watching. So if the performance isn't very good and you're being filmed, then, you know, you just think to yourself, well, it's game over, isn't it?
But it is always good, though.
Well, thankfully, yeah, it's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's good, but, you know, it's quite nerve-wracking.
There was one, I don't know, probably the Glastonbury before last, where you were on BBC One late at night as well. That was, I think it was a live performance. There was you and Andrew with the lights of Glastonbury in the background, and Joe Wiley and Mark Radcliffe watching. Yeah. And that was one of my favourite bits of TV ever, that was, because they ended up dancing.
I know they did. I was laughing my head off. Like, sit down.
So live national TV, though, I mean, how's that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great. It's weird. It's a bit, you know, you kind of nerve-wracking, but you can't fault it. You know, it spreads the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So your new album's out tomorrow. I read an interview. I think it was in the Guardian today. Where they said it was your 8th. I'm sure it's more than 8, isn't it?
We've done 12 albums, but I've done 7 with Andrew.
Right. Oh, okay.
So, 7th album tomorrow.
Right. How do you feel on the eve of release?
Yeah, well, you kind of like dread reviews because I'm not very good with bad reviews. But this time around, I've had a word with myself, and it's like, you know, we're at a level now where it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We're big enough now to just sail past these things. If it had been like the first album, fair enough. But hopefully, thankfully, the reviews ain't been that bad. You know.
Well, I've not read many, but the ones I've seen have been outstanding.
Yes, yeah, they're good. But it's exciting. It's like Christmas Eve, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never experienced
it. It's a bit like Christmas Eve.
I'd like to know.
I'm going to get up tomorrow really early and go gym, and then come back, and you know.
Brilliant. And then there's the whole thing with chart positions, isn't there? Do you get involved in that at all?
I mean, I'm fully into that. I really am. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore, the charts. They're not like they used to be, but you still want to be in the top 5 or top 10 at least, you know. You do. Because it looks good. Because you get top 5. It's good for festivals. You get better placings at festivals. Do you know what I mean? People tend to take you a little bit more seriously, which is sad, but, you know.
And the thing is, whether we're 8 albums in or 12 albums in, the fact is that everyone that comes out, the chart position just goes up a little bit more, although you're nearly at the top, aren't you now? So I'm not sure that can carry on forever.
Don't know. What do you mean?
Well, this is a good question. With the last one, I'm trying to think what number the last one went in. 4, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
4.
I would just definitely won't get number 1, but it'd be nice to get 3 or 2.
Yeah.
But to be honest, anything in the top 10 would be all right.
Yeah, good. And then there's a tour coming up as well. How does it feel to take all these roads? I mean, you mentioned that you've been rehearsing for 3 months. How does it feel to hit the road with your music and go and play for people?
Oof. Good. So, I mean, you know, you get really nervous and then you go on and it's all right, you know what I mean? I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge of, you know, because people do want you to entertain them. It's like, people's faces are like, come on, impress me. It really is. I mean, it's almost like a joust, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean,
and are crowds different as you go around the country? Do you encounter different sorts of audiences?
No, don't know. No, yeah, kind of. I don't know. They're more mixed. They used to be more mixed the further south we went, but now that's starting to. There's a lot more women turning up. You know, it's just a mixture of people. A bigger mixture of people. You know what I mean?
Now I've mentioned that you're independent in just about every way, really. So. Although that's very liberating, I imagine, not to be on a major label and not to make a lot of decisions yourself, does great responsibility come with all of that as well?
Yeah. In what sense do you mean?
Well, if you're managing every aspect of your career, or well, I mean, your manager, who's also your wife, is managing every aspect of your career. So, is that a challenge? Whereas, if you were with, I know you said you don't want to be a major label, but if you were with a label, there'd be somebody there to do the whole thing, wouldn't they? To just take every little bit of it.
There would, yeah, a little bit. And knowing what I know now, I don't think a major label. You know. You want a bit of control. You don't get a lot of control with major labels, but you do get big ego boosts all the time, you know. But, you know, like I said, but if you're not coming up with the results, they eventually go away, you know. But, yeah, there is responsibility. Just to do good stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. And I guess all the things like, you have to have an accountant's head on, don't you? And all of these things. The business side of it must come home to roost as well. So while you're doing all the creative stuff with Andrew, is your wife there doing all the business stuff in the background?
Basically, yeah. And she's like 14, 15-hour days, you know, on a laptop.
Really?
And on the phone, yeah. And she'll occasionally go to London. But it is literally just phone and laptop. That's just how it is, you know.
And does she delegate anything else? So when you're on tour, will you have a tour manager, for example?
We've got a tour manager and a sound guy, that's it. And a driver. Right. There's 5 of us. Sometimes the tour manager does the driving. But that's it. And a laptop. Bang.
Is the team around you, have they been consistent for a long time?
We've had the same team for like about 5 years now. Soundman's been with us since 2015. Tour manager around roughly around the same time actually, so nearly 8 years.
Is that important to you to have that constant team, do you think?
It's good to have a team. Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, I hate the word team as well. It's just stupid, isn't it?
I don't know.
So many people use team now, don't they? My team. What team? Shut up.
What would you call them?
Just
crew?
like your crew. Yeah. You kind of your team, I suppose.
Should we get some more music on? Right, we've done more Community, so we've got Kebab Spider.
Documentaries, then highlighting no pain. Some documentaries on Channel 4 are only in it for the fame. The ex-shoeshine boys for fakers, bingo poles with brick and backers. You've had a record deal for nearly 30 years. What do you know about agencies looking for jobs?
What do you remember about that video?
It was quite a hot and sweaty day, I think.
Where was that then?
That was at the Chameleon.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
They're all Nottingham-based, aren't they, all these videos?
Yeah. I don't really need to go anywhere else. I mean, you know, big budget videos are fine if you got the money, but there's no point in getting into debt for it. You know, they kind of just, they just go over people's heads after the first 6 months.
And I think with the way the world is now with TikTok and everything, people kind of appreciate the the DIY aesthetic. I'm going to use another word you're not going to like here, but a DIY aesthetic.
No, it's right. I think TikTok's a real weird one, and I think we've been shadow banned on it. You know, it's like, what's the point? It's just absolutely. You know what I mean? It's like, how can you get banned on that? The amount of crap that's on it. So yeah. I mean, it's a weird one, yeah, but. Good videos, if they're good, if the idea is good, then they're still powerful. But it's really hard for people that are starting out or people that haven't got much money to kick one of those out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's another one that I found. This is from 2012. This one, and well, I don't actually know where the video came from, but have a look at this. Well, it's off YouTube, but other than that, I don't know what it is. When the sun goes down on the town at night, situations. When the sun goes down on the town. I just like the way that was shot, but I don't know where it was from, really. Do you recognise that?
Yeah, that's it. What's it? The art place.
Oh.
Not the gallery, but...
I know the one you mean, yeah.
What's it called?
I've forgotten. The one down near the station.
Yes, the big old art place.
Yeah.
Contemporary, that's
it. Oh, it's contemporary.
Yeah.
That wasn't the one I was thinking of. The contemporary, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That was 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the first. That was after that gig. We had the Evening Post and Left Line magazine approached us for interviews, and that's when it started. There was a little bit of a quiver, you know. What I mean?
Was it? So until that point, there'd been not much interest. But then,
well, Andrew turned up for that gig, and he was thoroughly cheesed off, just like he'd had enough. But I think we got 50 quid for that.
With
night.
what? With just doing it?
Just doing it. I think, you know, you know, it was like we had to sit there and I was like, "You're all right." He's like, But you know, after that, things started to.
So could have that potentially been the end then of it? Do you think?
No, I don't think so. He would have still done it. I think the thing was with Andrew, he's like me. He knows that he's got to get on with it. And he'll stick with it until it's plainly obvious that it's not working. You know.
Do you two socialise as well? I mean, clearly you get on well because you couldn't be in a band with somebody for that long without getting on well. But do you socialise as well, or is it mostly just? Okay.
No, just he lives in Warwick. So, but did we socialise before? A bit. You know, went back in the day, but. I don't drink anymore, so I don't go out. You know what I mean?
Right, another one. This is brilliant. This is the new album, as I say, is out tomorrow, and we mentioned Perry Farrell. Do you want to explain who Perry Farrell is for people who might not know?
Perry Farrell is the lead singer of a band called Jane's Addiction, and he did Porno for Pyros after that, and he was part of the LA scene around sort of the late '80s when Los Angeles was renowned for its bands, you know what I mean? Red Hot Chili Peppers, Guns N' Roses, all that business. So, you know, and you had all this exciting stuff going on with rap, you know, NWA, blah, blah, blah. So, so he's from that period, so yeah.
So this guy's held in massive esteem, and then suddenly you get a message from him, don't you?
Yeah, to ask if we wanted to collaborate, which I said yes straight away. Thank you. And so we did a song called So Trendy, which is coming out on the new album tomorrow.
Let's see a bit of that now, shall we? It's a great song, a great video as well.
Thank you. Do
you have any say in the artistic direction of that video? Or did you
well, we didn't really know what to do, because obviously Perry's over there and we're over here. And so, because the song talks about like artificial AI and all that anyway, we did one in AI, because obviously that's now possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we got this guy, Dave Minton, from a company called Minton Films in Bristol that put it all together. We did the headshots on phones and just sent that to him, and he did the rest. So.
And how is it collaborating with somebody on the other side of the Atlantic who's already got quite a definite idea about presumably what he wants for a song? The two of you doing that, working together, is that a straightforward process?
Well, we just treat it like a guest feature, like.
Right.
You know, like rap records where someone will just come in, do like, you know, is it 12 bars or 24 bars? I still don't get it. But do about that amount on a tune and then go out again. So that's how we treat it, you know what I mean? And he came in with a chorus, And I said, just do what you want, really. And he just came back with that. So
you're pinging sound files backwards and forwards, or is that how it works? Just
yes, it took
emailing-
about 6 months to get it right.
Right.
Yeah, basically.
It's a really, really great track. Really great track.
Thank you.
So the album that's out tomorrow is called UK Grim. And what sort of topics do you cover? I mean, I know the answer because I've heard it, but for people who haven't, what sort of topics do you cover on there?
Politics, aggression, alienation, jealousy, bitterness, depression, just stuff like that, all the greats.
But here's the thing, it just chimes with so many people at the moment, doesn't it? That's the fact. That's why it's going to sell, because people relate to that.
Yeah, I think, love songs really aren't my thing, but I don't think at the minute there's much room for them, is there? Unless, of course, they're very good. You kind of throw away songs about meeting up with someone. It's just meaningless now. You know what I mean? I think you've just got to talk about the things around you.
So the previous album was Spare Ribs. So when you've had Spare Ribs was very successful, as you mentioned, top 5 place. So you're making a new one. Do you go out of your way to make it a different feel of album, or is it a conscious thing that you don't want to make Spare Ribs Part 2?
Well, we used the same formula. Got 2 guests in, and that's where it ended, I guess. You just do what you feel, and whatever works. We did about 35 songs. And so, you do some and you're like, oh my God, this is brilliant. But it just doesn't fit, It don't fit with the idea of you, and it doesn't fit on the album, even though it's a very good song. So we got rid of a load of them. And, we just got the ones that seem to really fit with who we are,
So you wrote a surplus of songs, and then
Loads of songs, yeah.
Right.
Some in different styles. I tried to,
do you think some of those might come back again, or are they
Dunno.
gone now?
They kind of just hang around, we might rediscover them in a couple of years and take from them, There's still a couple on there that I want to go back and try and rewrite, but it's the things that you disregard are usually the ones that are strongest.
Are they? How does that work then?
Well, because I'm not very good at quality control with it. Claire will sit there and go, no, this one is really good. Why is it good? Well, X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay. And so you think about that for a minute, and, it's important. She plays an important role like that.
It's good to have somebody to do those checks
Completely,
and balances. Yeah. Would you ever, obviously it's just the 2 of you, would you ever consider, I don't know if, getting a band behind you for a few gigs? That's just something you've not contemplated at all?
No. Not, I used to be disgusted at that idea, but now I'm not so much, it's like, but it's not, it just won't work at the minute. I don't know how that will work, and also it's the expense of it. It's like, why bother doing that unless you really properly want to include that in the live experience? There's no point.
Right, I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to open the floor to you. So have your questions at the ready, please, if you would. So, I'm going to ask this first. A bit of advice for people who are thinking about getting into songwriting. You've explained how you work with Andrew.
Yeah.
What would be your golden nugget of advice for somebody who wants to write a song, maybe for the first ever time?
Just think about verses, choruses, and middle eights. 3 different melodies, voice melodies, and try and differentiate those, into, a song structure. I don't know, it's really hard, really.
So making the 3 of those quite different is what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, to a certain degree. But the verse can be very characteristic of the chorus, but the chorus just has to have another little lift. The middle 8 can contain both elements of the chorus and the verse, but mix those together as well. I don't know, if you've got a good ear for melody, you should be able to figure it out pretty much early on. but that is one hurdle. It's then characterization, lyrics. Is it any good? Do you know what I mean? Does it stand out, or does it say something to you? Is it really you? All these things. But melody is universal. It fits everybody. So if you've got an idea of that, or you've been working towards achieving that, differentiating various melodies in a song, as I said, then you're kind of on your way.
Do you get messages from either fans or people who've just incidentally stumbled across your music about what your songs mean to them and what they've done for them?
Yeah, loads. Yeah.
So to me, that would be the most important thing as a musician. I think that would be the thing that would move me the most.
Well, you kind of don't want it in the end, because it's like you're not happy with it a lot of the time. You're full of self-doubt, and so you're there to. The idea is you're there to. I'm here to create. That's why I'm here, because I really like it. And sometimes compliments, and they're very nice. And I've done the same to other people. But sometimes you don't think you deserve the compliments. Do you know what I mean? Compliments aren't important at that point, because you're trying to figure out ideas. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. Very interesting. Right. Have we got a roaming? Oh, we have got a roaming mic. So, any questions, please? Oh, we'll start down the front here, please, if we may. Thank you. You've been taking notes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've got my notebook very prepared.
Good man.
But hi, Jason.
Hello, mate.
My name's Dan Otwell, and firstly, I just want to say thanks for taking my question. And I really admire in your lyrics the straightness of how sort of direct they are, and for me as a songwriter, that's a big. It's really refreshing, and I try to incorporate that in my lyrics, and it seems to connect with people, because last year I became the youngest person to ever sell out a Nottingham venue, and I felt people sort of appreciated that a bit more, and I sort of just wanted to ask you what your views were on how music with a message that's not the sort of pop mould in unifying people and just giving people a voice.
Yeah, it's important, yeah. But it's kind of something that you've got to feel and understand to a certain degree, and have experienced. I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but you can sometimes walk down a path and not realise that you've got absolutely nothing to do with that subject, and yet there you are talking about it, So I think lyrics are best when they come from your own experience, because they're full of your own emotion, and they're full, of things that you experienced in that situation. So, or situations. So, yeah, totally. And that kind of overrides any aspect of whether it's political or whatever. It ensures that it's just simply good,
Thank you.
No worries.
Which venue did you sell out?
Rough Trade.
Well
Very
done.
good. Brilliant. Right, have a hand over there, please. Thank you.
I went completely the wrong way. Cheers. It's going to sound a bit silly, but I really like your trousers.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Where did you get them from?
I got them from... Hold on.
Oh, careful. Put a screen up or something. Hang on. A second. Do not take a photo at this point.
They're called Anglin. Anglin, that's it. Thank you, Dean. And I've been after them for ages, and they sold out on this website called This Thing of Ours, a shop in Manchester. So I went on Depop and got them for 25 quid cheaper.
Oh, nice.
Result, yes. Thank you.
A round of applause for the Anglin trousers. Right, over there, please. Around over there.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
So I went to school and grew up in the same town that you did.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to know if you feel that coming from those kind of backgrounds,
Yeah.
you feel like you were at a disadvantage to the people around you in the industry, or you felt like it was something you could draw from?
I didn't feel like it was something I could draw from until later on in life, but I totally felt disadvantaged in the sense that, you know, it was a small town and it wasn't as glamorous as, you know, walking down King's Road in London. You know what I mean? You felt like a little bit of a hick. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I was always on the back foot because of that for a while anyway.
How do you feel about it?
Grantham.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're not. I don't know how to feel about Grantham. I mean, about you know. Do you think it would be reflected in your music?
From an outside perspective, I'd hope not, because it's Grantham. But from, I guess, kind of like almost again using the word like aesthetic of it, it is very like rough and ready, and it has got that.
Yeah,
I think it's quite well reflected in a lot of the stuff you do as well.
Yeah, I embraced it as I got older.
It's kind of the only thing you could do coming from
Yeah, I think
like
so. But you know, back in the day, it was like, oh, it's just a shithole, and you know, it's not glamorous, and blah blah blah. So yeah, you kind of put it to the back of your mind. But yeah, now I embrace it fully. So in a very positive way, I think.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
No worries.
Good question. Right, any more questions, please?
Sorry, can I just...
We've got one at the front here, one there. There we go. Sorry, go on.
What was it like being in Peaky Blinders?
It was all right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was a bit weird. It was all right though. I don't think they were too chuffed that I turned around and said I didn't watch it. But yeah, it was really good actually. They're really good people. I enjoyed it. It was a bit of an eye opener, you know. Yeah, it was good. I recommend it.
Right, so I've lost my thread now. Who's got the mic now? Where are we? Over there, please. Oh, just over there. And then just there. Just wave again. There we go. And then we'll come to the front in a minute.
Hiya. Do you think that you sort of subconsciously or purposely sort of stunted your success based on you not wanting to go back on your lyrics sort of being surrounded around like working class and that sort of message that you put out? Do you sort of think that, oh, what if I get successful and then suddenly the songs that I put out aren't truly authentic? Or is that
a great question?
That's a very good question. Yeah.
Really good.
No, I just did it, but then when I got successful, it occurred to me that I couldn't do the stuff that I did originally that made us successful. So I had to think harder about it and think about myself more and the situation I was in and the environment I was in. And so, you know, I got through it eventually, but it was a little bit of a concern, yeah. But there's so much stuff out there, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in dire straits to write good stuff, you know. And also, I was doing it for 20 plus years before I got there, so it's like I've got this like memory bank full of stuff which I now dip into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Brilliant. And I think there was a hand just down here, please. Thank you. And I've not been looking over there, and I'm terrible for doing this. I'll look over there next.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, mate.
Hi. I think I can say for everyone that the music you make is amazingly unique.
Thank you.
And I just want to know, do you sort of feel like you're writing music for the audience or for yourself, or like you feel like it's because it's unique, there might be people looking, like, because it's rap as well, there's a lot of thing that might think that it should be a certain way, and you're not a certain way, you're your own way.
No.
So when you're writing it, do you think people, like, some people might think it's not what it's supposed to be, and might that change how you write and make the music?
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, it doesn't. I just write. I do literally just write for myself, and yeah, there is a little bit of perhaps you do think about the image that you project, and therefore then does your subconscious take some notes from that and put it into what you do? Probably. I don't know. but no, I like to. I just please myself with it, and I like to try. I don't want to do straight rap, but I'll do it for a verse or whatever, and then go into something else or whatever. You know what I
I
mean?
think that's the most important thing, making sure that you're doing it for yourself.
You've got to do it for yourself, because if you don't, then it's going to become very laborious. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
No worries.
I mean, that's an interesting point, isn't it? So you at no point are you thinking, I'm going to do this just to have a broader appeal. You're doing it because it's what you truly believe in.
Yeah. I think, if people want to do music to have a broader appeal, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There is a time and a place. There is a place for it, but a lot of it just it dominates that kind of approach. I think, especially in the the corporate world, the pop world.
Brilliant. Right, I haven't been looking over here. So there we go. Just over there, please.
Hiya.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask about your stage persona and stuff, whether that was something that came quite quickly and naturally, or something that kind of came over time, or if you even view it as a stage persona.
It kind of evolved over time. The more gigs we did, then it started ramping up. That's why I like touring, because you get another little bit, connects itself to your performance. By the end of the tour, you're doing things, 2 or 3 different moves, you know what I mean? So that's important, it is a bit like entertaining doing a gig. So, the more preposterous things can get, but at the same time not going totally overboard, then, that's what you're trying to aim for. But yes, it evolves, over time, yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, people want to feel entertained, don't they, ultimately, when they go home?
They do, and I think, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the old point why most people get into music is because they want some attention, It's that I want some attention, essentially. So I've learned how to do this other thing, but, when you go on stage, it's a bit, you're just showing off, you know what I mean?
More questions, please? Oh, there's Holly just down here. Oh, there you go.
Hello.
Hello.
So I was a student when you did your last talk at Confetti. I now teach here.
Oh, okay.
It would have been 2015 or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
How does it feel kind of coming back and doing the talk, given it you were kind of just beginning this journey, and now it's, you're well in it and you've got this longevity. How does it feel coming back and talking about
I think
that?
it's better. I think I just kept swearing all the time, if I remember rightly, last time, and I was just a little bit full of myself. So now I've calmed down and grown up a bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's a proper job now. So I feel it's better to come back in this way. Your information's a bit more solid, and there's a bit more wisdom there, I'd like to think. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you. Over there.
Hey, Jason.
Hello,
if
mate.
you could have a chat with yourself and Andrew on the night of that contemporary gig, as you are now, what would you say?
I wouldn't say anything really. There was nothing really that we were doing wrong. Probably smoking cigarettes and drinking. But even that, nothing. We were kind of, everything was perfect back then. That was all I ever envisaged a band to be, something that caught on by word of mouth, came up slowly and was original. Do you know what I mean? So, no, I'd kind of just sit there and watch it, I think. I wouldn't have had that haircut, to be honest. It was a bit too short around the sides.
Cheers.
There's a lot to be said for a slow build, isn't there? I mean, plenty of artists appear, have a top 5 album, then they vanish.
And then just go,
So
and they're mainly connected with big labels, so it really is, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Right, more questions, please? Oh, we've got one here. We'll come back to you. You've done what? We'll come back to you in a minute. It's okay. We'll return to you. Don't worry. There we go.
So you talked about sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, how do you think that affects your music now? And do you look back on before you got sober? Do you look on the music then differently?
No, the kind of writing thing was always the same, sober or not. It's not changed. I think the only thing that's changed perhaps is my scope. my acceptance of things. I don't know. My intelligence has grown because I'm no longer miserable. You know what I mean? So, or well, I am miserable, but not, you know, like drug downers or hangovers. So, but no, the connection to the song was always the same. It didn't, you know, that never. I don't think it ever got in my way. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you. And we'll come back to the front here, please.
It actually stems on from the question I want to ask now. So you stopped drinking.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Why do you think you decided to stop drinking? How has it sort of changed?
Well, I needed to stop. It was just stupid. You know, I was a big cocaine addict and a big alcoholic and needed to stop. So I had children and a wife, you know what I mean?
You feel more productive as well now?
Yeah, totally. So completely, every morning's full of singing birds and bowls of hearty porridge. Do you know what I mean? So, it, you know, the cliches are all true, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The sun comes out every day, you know. So I just needed to stop for my own health, you know. I could have carried on doing that and the music would have been, I would imagine it would have been just as interesting, but physically, mentally, you know, you've got to like yourself at the end of the day. I think, you know, and I didn't really like myself, so it's getting to know yourself again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you.
Was it a sudden decision, and was it easy to change?
Well, I tried for years to try and give up drugs, couldn't do it, and I couldn't do it. You know.
So what changed that made?
I gave up drinking. That was it. Drinking is the one, really.
Right. Okay.
You know, I mean, I don't miss it now, but I can. You know, alcohol's lovely. It's great. You know, it's. You know, it's not evil or anything like that. But I just couldn't operate. I just couldn't use it properly. You know. I don't think there is a way to use alcohol properly, but I still don't view it as something completely horrible. You know. You can have a good time with it, but I just took it to a conclusion, really.
Okay, brilliant. Hello there.
Hello, Jason.
Hello.
Sorry that these questions have taken a certain turn. I found what you've said very inspiring on this topic. I myself have been sober for 2 years as well, and I think it's really interesting to hear it from your perspective. Was there ever any fear that you needed to be under influence to perform, to write? The moment you stopped, did you have any concerns that it might affect your creativity with writing?
No, I think I used to like drinking and getting stoned in the studio, but that kind of even got boring. You know, it became quite clear that it was not happening anymore. It just wasn't working. But I used to love getting stoned and pissed. You know, first 3 albums were done like that, and it was a real nice accompaniment to. Because I used to have to record after work, I'd get on the bus, go to Andrews, and he would have lager there and weed, and we would just go until like 1 a.m, you know. And it was solid work, but it just helped me work. But no, when I stopped, no, it wasn't a problem at all, you know. I think you start drinking tons of coffee, you know. It took me a while to give up nicotine lozenges. But even that goes, you know, that's gone now, you know what I mean? So it took a while to do that, but no, it was never a major issue.
Can I turn this on its head? You go to the gym now, don't you? Is that a relatively recent thing? And does that...
I've always done it.
Have you? Does that put you in a particular zone as well?
Yeah, it does, yeah. It just really sorts you out. I mean, you know, I'm like 52. I don't want to go out like that. So I just go to the gym and try and get him to make me look like Brad Pitt, you know what I mean?
Doing a good job, Jason.
I know, well, that's what I thought, thank you.
More questions, s'il vous plaît? Anyone else? There we go, just down here. Oh, no, I've seen you over there again.
How do you decide who directs your music videos and who comes up with the ideas for them?
My manager, really. Music videos in the early days were kind of we had ideas, but they were very basic, but they were powerful because that's all we needed. But so now, I'm really not great at trying to figure out what we need. So our manager will do all that for us and suggest stuff. Then we will put ideas into the pot as well, and it'll be like a collaboration. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, cheers.
And does that stem from the title of the song or the vibe of the song?
Both, yeah.
Right, okay.
Both.
Yeah. We had a hand up over here, please, if that's okay. Thank you.
How did you find the step up to performing in an arena from like more academy level venues, and how did you find the music worked from more intimate venues?
I don't know really. There was kind of no change because all it is a laptop and a backing track. All the hard work was done in the studio, so it's kind of the space is a bit bigger. So you do have to think about that a little bit. But I didn't sweat too much over it. It was more like initially when we started playing like stadium arenas, supporting other bands. It was a bit like, this is shite, you know, because it was just so big and like people didn't want to see you anyway. But eventually you get used to the space and you start working the space and start getting a few more entertainment angles in your legs, you know. So yeah, but it wasn't that much of a great shake-up really.
Thanks.
Yes.
Over here again. We'll do a couple more, then we'll wrap up, I think.
Hello again.
Hello.
So you work closely with like your family. So presuming that you live together. And
yes.
How do you manage that? Do you ever have any conflict? Like, is that like a balance? Do you have like working relationship and then like relationship?
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. It's like, oh, okay. Right, it's work. Right, I'm not talking about you anymore. And then it will switch up for 20 minutes and then you'll become, you know, husband and wife again. And yeah, it goes like that. But she's very good at it, you know, and I think this is why it's changed the fortunes of the band, really. And, you know, she's got a good career out of it as well, you know. She takes to it, does it really well. So, yes, it is literally like that, you know. As you get older, you're like, oh, we've got time to do this now. Oh, we'll do that, you know. You know, it's a bit of like, oh, my God, getting old's so boring. But it is like that, yeah.
But do you manage to factor in downtime? Do you make sure you go away on holidays and all of those things?
Oh, big time, yeah. But, you know, the thing is, it's like we can just hang around the house, you know what I mean? And I just like hanging around, you know. It's the energy's really nice now because there's no issues. I haven't gone out for 3 days. Do you know what I mean? It's like everything's okay. So we enjoy each other's company wherever, really. But, yeah, holidays are nice, defo, yeah.
Brilliant. Right, we'll do one more, please. If you've been sitting there with a burning question, there we go. Just over here, please.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
So you said that like you get really like nerve-wracking on stage, right?
Yeah.
So I tend to sometimes get like nerve-wracking on stage when I
Okay.
perform. So how do you calm yourself down when you perform?
Don't give in to fear, because that's the one. Fear will make you forget the words when you know the words thoroughly well. Fear will cause all sorts of things. So try and resist the idea of fear. And I don't quite know how to tell you to do that, but the way I do it is just don't think about it, and the fear goes away then. Do you know what I mean? So whatever you're nervous about, know that you're going to override that by going on stage and being great because you've rehearsed, blah, blah, blah. But if you let it sink in too much, then it will freeze, you know, you'll freeze up, you know what I mean? So try not to let fear override too much. A little bit of fear is good because it gives it energy, you know what I mean? But too much of it can seize you up, do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
No worries.
Good question again, thank you. Right, unless there is one more, I keep saying one more, don't I? We should let Jason go, really, but if there is one more, you're in the presence of greatness here, but not for much longer, so seize the opportunity, don't go away wishing you'd asked a question. Oh, there we go. Right.
Oh, thanks for meeting me halfway. There you go. Hi. Do you feel that with an increasingly sort of more like political landscape that there's any obligation to be writing more political music and giving a bit more direction to people?
Sometimes no, really, no. I think you write what you feel, do you know what I mean? I think there's an obligation to be on the right side of a message, and I think, you know, we all know what that is. We don't include any misogyny or any biased, do you know what I mean? I'd like to think we don't include any racism, anything like that. So to be on the right side of life's message is enough, really. But feeling obligated is a tricky one, because you then start coming out with a message that isn't necessarily connected to what you're actually thinking, do you know what I mean? And sometimes it pays to piss people off, you know, or do something that people don't agree with sometimes, you know what I mean?
Thank you very much. Right, thank you. Oh, I thought it was someone else then. Thank you so much for your brilliant questions today. The album, UK Grim, is out tomorrow, and I can recommend it. It's a great, great album. And then you can see Sleaford Mods at Rock City on the 14th of March, if you're quick. Some tickets still left. So enjoy that. I want you to put your hands together, please, and thank Jason for being here. It was amazing. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a great audience as well. Good luck with your music.